Hello and welcome to The Pulse. With less than 2 months left in office and despite strong opposition, last week Chief Executive Leung asked the Housing Society to conduct an 18-month study on building housing on the edges of country parks, which are deemed to have relatively low ecological and public enjoyment value. Not only that, Lantau Island could be about to face major disruption. 54% of the island is country park and many parts of it are of high natural significance alongside heritage and landscape conservation value. The East Lantau Metropolis plan could change that. More on that in part 2. But first, on Wednesday, Taiwan's highest court ruled in a landmark decision in favour of same-sex marriage. That decision means that Taiwan will become the first place in Asia to legalise marriages of this kind, despite the opposition of conservative groups in Taiwan who have argued, among other things, that acceptance of homosexuality is not Chinese. Meanwhile, in Hong Kong, the gay community has a far longer way to go to achieve equality before the law. On Wednesday, Taiwan's top court, the judicial Yuen, ruled in favour of same-sex marriage, paving the way for the island to become the first place in Asia to legalise same-sex unions. The ruling by a panel of 14 Grand Justices said that not permitting marriages of this kind violates the Constitution. The court gave the Taiwan government 2 years to revise the law. If it fails to do so, same-sex couples will be allowed to register for marriage and obtain the status of a legally recognised couple.
And people like me in a position of being in a same-sex relationship with children, we need this law even earlier, even faster. And so I think everybody here and everybody who is supporting this law in Taiwan and throughout the world will be rooting for us and will be giving a lot of pressure to the legislators to pass this law once and for all.
Recently in Hong Kong, sexual minorities also celebrated a landmark victory when on the 28th of April the High Court ruled that the husband of senior immigration officer Leung, whom he married in New Zealand, was entitled to spousal benefits for civil servants. On Thursday, the government filed an appeal against the ruling. This will override the original court's decision to grant spousal benefits from September the 1st. The court did not, however, recognise Leung's application for joint assessment of taxes.
我一直都要求政府去研究同開始去討論諮詢，香港係要訂立一個制度、一個機制，係俾同性伴侶咧係締結關係嘅。嗰個機制可以係婚姻，可以係其他嘅機制，例如外國有啲叫民事結合啊，或者民事伴侶啊。 令到同性伴侶可以得到應有嘅權利。
Well, with me in the studio, legislator Priscilla Leung and Felix Yuen, Co-ordinator of Amnesty International's LGBT group. Priscilla Leung, can I come to you first? I presume you're quite happy with the government's decision to appeal against the court ruling giving spousal rights to a gay civil servant. But you've said if this goes through, it's going to threaten society's fabric and even cause polygamy. I mean, how does all that work?
First of all, it's the right move of the government, at least to launch an appeal. This kind of very controversial and debatable issue deserved a very clear principle of law being laid down by the highest court. And secondly, if the judgment became a final judgment, that is what our prediction would be, because the judgment actually did discuss the difference of the consequences if the wordings of the law, the existing ordinance in terms of spouse, if it is not as detailed as Inland Revenue Ordinance, then there will be very uncertain consequences as to whether a spouse registered outside the jurisdiction of Hong Kong or registered a marriage which is not recognized by Hong Kong would receive the benefits like a spouse.
Why does that threaten society?
I would see it really opened a floodgate
To what?
of the existing monogamous marriage.
Why?
Why? Because if a marriage which is registered in another jurisdiction of Hong Kong, our existing marriage law has very clear-cut principles and requirement of a marriage that would not be declared void, okay? That is our existing marriage law.
So maybe the marriage law could be changed in Hong Kong, as it has been in...
You are talking the core issue.
Yes, that's what we're trying to get
everything,
to.
okay?
Yes, we're trying to get to that.
I think if you ask me, I think one man, one wife, one woman, one husband is better system than polygamous system, and also...
You are aware, incidentally, that the only societies that tolerate polygamy are societies that don't allow same-sex marriage. You do know that, don't you?
You mean which society?
In Africa, there are countries that allow polygamy, but they don't allow same-sex marriage.
Yeah.
In the Middle East, polygamy is permitted in societies that don't have same-sex marriage.
Yeah, but I don't need to take
of
reference of Africa.
I see.
I only look at what Hong Kong, our community, want the values of marriage.
Let me ask you, Felix. There's something like 20-odd jurisdictions allow same-sex marriage. Do you know, in these jurisdictions, what impact that has had on the general state of marriage in those societies?
We're only talking about equality. Equality of human rights, like even homosexual people can have the same human rights which the law have been protected. Amnesty International, of course, we also treasure the freedom of speech, freedom of thoughts. And we are not saying that having the same-sex marriage will push the heterosexual marriage away. No. It's just that they have to be together.
If we reform it, so then every kind of loving relationship will be discussed, okay? It's not only talking about same-sex marriage.
Well, what else is it?
There are many
give me an example.
Maybe one man, two wives. We have a man who has a wife.
I don't think anybody's proposing that.
You don't propose that. Many other women from the mainland of China, they would like to enjoy the status of spouse in Hong Kong. Even the man has a lawful spouse in Hong Kong.
But let me just ask you.
Or maybe in other countries.
Among the societies that have passed this law around the world, you've got them in Latin America, you've got one in Africa, you've got a lot in Europe. Do you know of one example of those societies following the enactment of same-sex marriage have then gone on to introduce the legalisation of polygamy? One example of that?
I think you try to just relay same-sex marriage with polygamous marriage.
No,
Our
sorry,
objection,
you did that.
It's only one of the consequences.
Well, give me another one.
From my point of view, my main objection to the amendment of our existing marriage system, apart from amending the law, which may not only restrict to same-sex marriage, I mean, it's logical, right? You can't just say I only, because same-sex marriage has a more say, you only discuss that. But my main objection is on the raising up of children, on our community. This is my belief that if a child is raised in a family with husband and wife, mother and father, father is a man, mother is a woman.
So you say same-sex couples can't raise children, is that what you're saying?
They can raise children, but I don't believe that the same kind of growing up will be given to a child being raised up by a family with father and mother. Father is a man, mother is a woman.
There are a lot of researches, especially in European countries and the States, which state the otherwise. They are actually the children in the homosexual relation family. They are the same, they grow up the same. Their health, their lifestyle, everything, they have no difference with other children in the community. And as Priscilla said, this is your belief. We need facts, we need statistics to support it. Oh, if you believe it is better to have to marry a man, a woman should marry a man, then you can definitely go for that kind of marriage. But you cannot stop other people from doing their same-sex marriage. And the statistics and also the researchers have already shown that these families are healthy, their children are healthy. There is no bad impact on the society at all. We are not saying that you will be disallowed.
Well, thank you both very much indeed. We're out of time. We're going to come back after the break and we'll see you then. Welcome back. For many Hongkongers, Lantau Island is a breath of fresh air. 54% of it is occupied by country park. It's home to rare species such as the Romer's tree frog and ecologically important sites such as montane forests, woodland, coastal waters and uncontaminated streams. There are also 8 sites of special scientific interest where development is not permitted, as well as 5 declared monuments, 5 graded historical buildings, 57 archaeological sites and over 20 temples. There are now fears that a planned development of nearby Kau Yi Chau to become the East Lantau Metropolis could put this rich heritage at risk.
It will be terrible. It's such a unique environment in Hong Kong. It will destroy and make it become just another new town like Zhangguan or Dongchong.
到佢整好嗰時咧，我哋唔知仲唔健在，因為起碼都20年以外嘅嘢。
The funny thing is, if you never been, I don't think you will feel sorry.
我都唔知點，我真係唔過得日子，真係唔過得日子。
It's likely that few Hong Kongers would be able to point to Kau Yi Chau on a map. Even fewer will have visited it. The island may be remote and uninhabited, but in 2015, Sam and Yuen decided to go there as part of a kayak trip to photograph Hong Kong's 107 no-man's islands. As he recalls, he arrived on National Day.
Once I actually get close to Kau Yi Chau, I see 2 choppers circling around the island with 2 flags. One is the national flag, one is the Hong Kong flag, because I think they're just getting ready to go through Victoria Harbour for the parade. I was actually on Kau Yi Chau, so I have my head up, seeing those 2 choppers flying around with those 2 flags. It's so ironic.
Chief Executive Leung first raised the idea of creating an East Lantau Metropolis in 2014. The plan is to build an artificial island roughly the size of 42 Victoria Parks around Kau Yi Chau. It will involve further reclamation at Leung Chau and Mui Wo. The 4-kilometre distance between Kau Yi Chau and Hong Kong Island is similar to that between Central and North Point. The East Lantau Metropolis would provide road and railway links connecting Hong Kong Island, Kowloon Peninsula, the New Territories and Lantau. It's also expected to direct traffic to the Hong Kong-Zhuhai-Macau Bridge. In total, the development will make more than 1,000 hectares of land available, on part of which 400,000 to 700,000 people would be housed.
梅窩係其中一個發展區，佢會發展成為一個新嘅市鎮嘅時候，嗰啲垃圾同埋嗰啲嘅泥最容易去嘅呢。 就其實就係去咗南大嶼，剩翻水口、塘福、貝澳呢啲地方。呢一個問題咧，其實而家都已經出現㗎啦。即係貝澳同埋塘福個島泥嘅情況已經非常之嚴重，嗰個濕地已經受到好大嘅破壞，但係政府係冇任何嘅執法嘅權力係去處理相關嘅問題。
On this piece of private land at Butterfly Hill in Mui Wo, a cemented sidewalk has been laid down and many trees felled. Our informant talked to construction workers on this site and was told 5 new houses are going to be built here. The Buildings Department says it has not been notified of any such plan. The Civil Engineering and Development Department has visited the site and says it sees no imminent danger from this slope. But this is not the only example of drastic change in Mui Wo's landscape.
而家多咗好多丁屋起緊啦，亦都多咗新嘅居屋會搬入嚟啦。 同埋佢預計咧會有多啲嘅旅客入嚟咧，咁所以咧佢做咗好多新嘅工程，咁呢啲咧亦都影響到咧牛群喺呢度嗰個生活環境嘅，咁所以嗰個牛同埋而家人嗰個生活嗰個衝突其實係多好多。
Concerned about East Lantau's future, legislators and advocates have sought official justifications for creating the proposed artificial island. Some estimate that the proposed metropolis will cost $400 billion, and fear the massive reclamation projects rest on a shaky foundation.
你哋喺個2030交報告裏邊明明係講明，其實房屋需要嘅土地差唔多齊㗎啦嘛，爭200公頃就得㗎啦。好多與會者都以為你哋要大興土木做咁多填海咧，係做住宅啊！
只係經濟本身咧，就係需要300公頃嘅土地。咁正話房屋咧就係200啦，係啦。咁再加埋另外咧就係嗰個政府用地啦、運輸啊、基建啊，同埋呢個與呢個人口增長有關，去支持個人口增長嘅用途咧係700公頃。咁所以整體嚟講咧就1200公頃。
係咯，嗱，所以其實係唔使填咩人工島啊，或者馬料水啊，根本你要200公頃額外嘅地就住晒啲人㗎啦嘛。
No other metropolis with that many people in the world is in the middle of a sea. So even conceptually, it's a very high-risk proposition. And given the rising sea level and the Hong Kong inclement weather in summer, the typhoon season, can you imagine what it takes to evacuate 700,000 people? Every city, major new metropolis, they always start from economic policy. What industrial activity that can form a basis to find land to build a new city. I don't see such foundation in this case.
Dr. Yuen would like to retain the community's uniqueness and multicultural makeup, but a Mui Wo resident is clearly upset with the public consultation that came to an end last month and that he calls unfair and selective.
For the last 3 years, the government would not come to Mui Wo and meet the resident until about 4 weeks ago, about March 22nd, very quietly. They came and made a presentation basically to the rural committee. And people like around here living, major, the ferry near bus terminal where I live, you will not find any announcement.
The white-bellied sea eagle, often seen around the proposed 3rd Central Business District, is officially under Class 2 protection in mainland China. In Hong Kong, theoretically, the Wild Animals Protection Ordinance offers the bird necessary protection.
We still have records of the white-bellied sea eagle active in this area. So there are still potential that these islands, potential breeding habitats of these birds, because they do use previous sites for nesting. So we can't rule out there's a possibility that they will come back again to breed on these islands.
There are only 30 or so white-bellied sea eagles left in Hong Kong. But in developing Kau Yi Chau, instead of stepping up conservation efforts, the government is planning to build a metropolis around the bird's former breeding site.
It might mean that it will be hard for them to forage. If there's too many marine traffic, too many human disturbance, it'll be quite hard for them to find food in this area, in the sea. If there's any disturbance, they might even abandon the nest.
Equally unfortunate could be Bogadag's legless lizard, a rare species found only in Hong Kong. The government has acknowledged its presence on Leung Chau and suggests keeping a water channel as a buffer between the natural and artificial islands.
The most special wildlife is the Bogadag legless lizard. It's found on Leung Chau in 1987, and subsequently we also found it on 2 other islands, Seku Chau and Sunshine Island. So in the whole world, this lizard is only known from 3 small islands. Leung Chau at the moment has got a lot of prison facilities. So what will be the future of these prison facilities once ELM has been built? Will they be earmarked for other development? If that's the case, then most likely that will have impact on this endemic lizard.
The new metropolis will also place new pressures on nearby outlying islands. On Peng Chau, property prices have already risen sharply in recent years, and landowners are desperate to ride the development opportunity. 79-year-old Wu has farmed here for over 4 decades. Last month, her farm was fenced off and locked up, leaving her heartbroken and helpless.
你嗰邊又話斬樹啊，又話斬木家啊，我聽到我死啦！我俾佢斬晒，我啲咪冇晒咯，點算啊？我咪瞓唔着，成晚瞓唔着啊！好無良嗰啲人啊！我又唔係話偷你係搶你嘅，我自己喺度耕田耕幾十年，即係一笪地方屬於係我差唔多啦，係嘛？40幾年。
They never mention about what's the impact, what kind of transformation it does to the environment. So, and they never mention about the cost. They've yet to make an estimate of a cost, even though this is one of the biggest infrastructure projects in the history of Hong Kong.
Well, that's it for us for this week. A week in which the Trump train has been steaming around the world, leaving a mixed trail of enthusiasm, confusion, and seemingly less than impressed leaders. We'll see you next week. Goodbye.